King Ray Ray in this bitch. Ah.
Chuck Diesel.
What's good? What's good, brothers? We're back in the building again. Early morning motivation. King Ray Ray. Let's get the people a few minutes to slide up in the joint, and then we'll be ready to ride. Hope everybody's enjoying this hump day morning so far. So my way to get some more fishing footage for the fishing vlog for my patrons. And decided I'd drop in on y'all, man, instead of doing it from the car today. I drop in, man, and drop a quick half hour or so on y'all, man, about this particular topic. And you know, when I talk about the Most High from now on, man, I'm going to have biblical references to back up everything I say. If I say it, it's because God said it. If I quote it, it's coming from the word of the Most High. So let's get the people a few minutes to get in here on this early morning. Numbers 6:1. A woman can be godly if she separates herself from the world. That is the truth of the matter here. So give people a few minutes. DJ Banner, what's good, brother? Damon Young, what's good, Dame? You know, a lot of the times we look out and we survey the landscape of intimate relationships, and we overlook the social engineering that's taking place over centuries, not just years or decades, centuries, which has led up to this point of lack of understanding between men and women, but specifically black men and black women. Jay Lax, salute, bro. Tony the Realist, what up, Tone? No Mercy, what's happening? What's up with you? So I said, man, you know, what am I going to do about this? And I say, well, you're well-read, well-versed in the word of the Most High. And he's given to you an understanding of it in a way that he doesn't seem to have given anyone else that you know. So what are you going to do? I say, you know what? I'm going to support everything I say with the word of the Most High. That way, so you can dispute me, especially if you claim to be a godly man, or you claim to be a man of God, or you claim to be a righteous man or a spiritual man. You can dispute me all you want to, but you can't dispute the word of the Most High. Or you turn out to be a less than godly man. You're trying to be a man who's been lying to us about his spirituality. And I know you don't want that. SJ3, my brother, salute to you. Good to see you in the joint. Appreciate you being in here. Sun Low, bless up, brother. Falcone, salute. Vaughn, bless up, my brother. We'll give the people a couple of more minutes, man, to get in here before we really get into this thing. You know, I have a purpose, man, on this planet, in this world, in this life. And it's to bring my brothers and therefore sisters back into the threshold of the Most High, into the grace of the Most High, into the favor of the Most High, so we can find our way out of this hell we're living in. Cliff Paul, what's good, brother? Stunner, what up? So Let's give people just one more minute to get in here. We should hit our number. Now our number is 30. There was a time when our number was 100 on the BOA channel, but we'll get there. We're grinding our way there. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up, man. If you're in here already, go ahead and hit it. Only take a fraction of a second, man, to click that thumbs up. Now, a woman can be godly if she separates herself from the world. Now, I know you've heard me say that a woman can't be godly, but I was speaking on this particular society. The women that we currently have available to us cannot be godly because they won't separate themselves from the world. You see, a woman can't submit because she doesn't separate herself from the world. A woman can't go along with everything that a man says because she can't separate herself from the world. All the world is noise to interrupt your quiet. Being with a man who follows the Most High is a quiet time for a woman's life. There is no noise in that for her. She can just be a woman. But she listens to the outside noise and it clouds her judgment. It clouds her ability to be able to understand what her man is saying to her. So she has to separate herself from the world in order to be the woman that she was put here to be. Numbers, the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either a man or a woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord. And then it goes on to tell the things that you must do. But I want to stick to this particular line. When either a man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite. Now, if you notice, it didn't say a man and his woman. It didn't say a man with his woman, a woman with her man. It said a man or a woman. Now, if you think about the book of Proverbs, it said, when a man findeth a wife. It didn't say build a wife. It said finds a wife. What does that wife start? Also in the book of Proverbs, who can find a virtuous woman? Where does that virtue come from? It comes from that woman separating herself unto God. You can't meet a woman who's out in the world and change her into a godly woman. She's just going along to get along. She's just going along with you because she has an ulterior motive to get whatever she can out of you or whatever you offered her or the lifestyle that she can live in your presence. You can't make a woman godly. She got to separate herself unto God. She has that right. She has that ability. God invites her to vow a vow of Nazarite and separate herself unto the Lord. Now, don't be fooled and think that that church woman is doing that. That's not what she's doing. She's separating herself from God, going after a religion that was created by the enslavers of her people. That's not the same one. And I'm not Christianity was not created during slavery. It goes back a little bit further than that. There were Christian missionaries coming into the continent, but we're not going to even talk about that on this particular stream because that's a wormhole that we don't need to go down. It's a little bit deeper than I want to do right here on YouTube, maybe something for Patreon. But you can't make a woman God. See, you got these brothers out here telling you that you're supposed to lead a woman to God. No, you're supposed to lead a woman in godliness. She got to find her own way to God. You ain't going to find nowhere in this word where it says a man's supposed to lead his woman to God. Leading her in godliness and leading her to God are two different things. She got to want God on her own. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can lead a woman to God, but you can't make her submit to him. See, let me tell you about submission. Submission has nothing to do with the man. We want to be so cocky and tell ourselves that the woman is submitting to us. No, the woman is submitting to the will of God. The way a relationship is constructed is the will of God. She's not submitting to you as a man. She's submitting to God. But she can't submit to God because she doesn't know God. And she can't submit to you because she won't submit to God. You cannot build a godly woman, brother. I don't care who you are. Unless you're raising her from birth, you can raise a godly woman, but you can't build a godly woman. If a woman is not godly, she ain't going to be godly. She don't want to be godly. It's a whole lot easier to be out here in the world living freely, so freely, in fact, that you can call yourself God. How far has a woman gone from being godly when she does not separate herself unto the Lord? She goes her own way and calls herself the Lord. How far has she gone? And these brothers are telling you to meet women and make families and do all that. You can't make a godly family with a woman who ain't godly. Any man who tells you that is not godly himself. It doesn't matter if you have a family if your family is not rooted in God. You don't have a family. You have a coalition of people living together. Everything that we do as men has to be done from the spirit, man. We can't think our way into things unless our thoughts are derived from our spiritual man. Am I speaking against families? No, I'm not. If God will, we'd all have families. We'd all be rooted in the Most High. We'd all have the spiritual awakening that we need to protect our family, truly protect our families. A godly man has no need of spoil. It's kind of like men say we need to pick up the pieces of the broken woman. No, we don't. She needs to go to God to pick up her pieces. You can't be a savior. You are not a savior. You can barely save yourself enough to even turn to God. God did not put you and I here to be the saviors of the broken woman. You are a fool if you are a savior for a broken woman, unless you broke her yourself. If you broke her, fix it. If you break your coffee table, you're going to fix it or buy another one. If you wreck your car, you're going to get it fixed or get another one. If you break your arm, you're going to do what it takes to heal it. If you get fat, you're going to do what it takes to fix your fitness. If you break it, fix it. That's what a man does. If you break it, you fix it. If it's at all possible to fix it. But to go around traipsing around this world, looking at women who have not submitted themselves to God and thinking that they're going to submit themselves to you. No, you're going to submit yourself to her. Either a woman submits to God or you submit to that woman. You got two choices as a man. Either you're going to submit to God or you're going to submit to a woman. Either way it goes, you're going to submit to somebody. Or you can submit to Satan himself. And there are many men around here who have done that. Many men who have done that. She is not worthy of your time if she cannot even bring herself to submit to God, man. And I'm talking about submit to God. Now, this is where the leadership comes in. She doesn't know God. You know if a woman knows God or not. I did a consultation with a brother. He was telling me how this chick was all about spirituality and she went in the church and she was, see, this is the thing about spirituality. You have to be careful about that word. So I don't really use it a lot. I use godliness. See, you can be spiritual, but not be godly because God is not the only spirit. There's a bunch of spirits out here. There's a bunch of gods out here, bunch of idol gods out here, bunch of evil spirits out here. So when a woman talks about being spiritual, or even when a man talks about being spiritual, I don't buy into that. You got to be able to tell me you godly or not. Are you godly? Are you striving to be godly? Or are you spiritual? See, spiritual is an excuse to not be religious. And religion, the only reason people avoid religion, the majority of people only avoid religion because it's too restrictive. But guess what? Being godly is restrictive as well. If you want to compare it to how the people live in the world, you only view godliness as restrictive if you are content with living with the evil intent of the world. A woman who doesn't want to be in a relationship because relationships are too restrictive just wants to be a thought. A man who doesn't want to have a woman on his team or have any type of commitment in a relationship is simply just a man who wants to be out here traipsing around being a male thought. It's okay to have multiple women, but you can't have multiple thoughts. What makes you different from the woman you call a thought if you've got multiple thoughts? Wait a minute. She's a thought for having multiple men, but you don't even have multiple women. You got multiple thoughts. How does that sound to you? Does it sound like you have the wherewithal, that you have the right to look down your nose at a woman that you call a thought? Now, King Ray Ray, what's the difference between having a woman and having a thought? That's when the grown man part comes in. See, having a thought can be any woman. Having a woman, you got to screen a woman. You got to make sure that her energy matches yours. You got to make sure that she doesn't come in and infiltrate anything that you have going on as far as your godliness goes and interrupts it with her evil energy. And you got to make sure that she is ready and willing to submit to God. See, let me tell you something. I meet women all the time that don't know God, but they've been in different religions. See, when you look at a woman who's been in different religions, you can't look at her negatively. That woman's been in different religions because she's been searching for God her whole life. Man, I met a woman who was Islamic. She was Christian. She had even tried Buddhism for a minute. And she kept bouncing out of them because she couldn't find God. I met that woman, man, introduced her to God. The woman been rolling with me, man, for about 13 years now. And I don't even call it off and on. We just have what we have. You understand? It is what it is. There's a connection there that, I honestly haven't developed as fully as with her, with any other woman. And we just have that connection. It's outside of the physical realm. It's outside of the financial realm. It's outside of all realms except the spiritual realm. It is on a level of godliness where when she seeks God, she seeks me because she knows I seek God. There are women out here who want to know God. So don't shun a woman just because she's a Christian. That woman is looking for God probably. Don't shun a woman because she's Islamic. That woman is looking for God probably. Don't even shun a woman who's an atheist. You imagine a woman seeking God all her life and never finding him, then what do? You believe it doesn't exist. You look at people in a certain environment financially, if they never get a come up, then they just assume that life is just going to be poor for them. It's hard for them to focus on coming up when life is so bad financially. That's the same way you have to view it. But that is the prerequisite. That is the number one prerequisite that you must have on the table. If you're going to invite a woman into your life, she must be seeking the face of God. And if she is not seeking God, she is going to infiltrate your life with evil energy, and you are not going to know it until the energy has overtaken certain parts of your life. And I don't care how righteous you think you are. If you invite evil into your life, the Most High is going to be pissed because he thinks you should know better. Matter of fact, he knows you should know better. A woman can only be worthy if she is willing to separate herself from the world unto the ways of the Lord. I did a video not long ago, man, called Why Dating Coaches Are a Necessary Evil. And then I said some very positive things about the dating coach. Because let me tell you what the dating coach does. The worst man on the planet is a man who thinks he's beneath women. If you're a man and you think you're beneath women, I don't care what she's got going on. If you think you're beneath her, and there's men out here who preach that and teach that. Someone sent me an Instagram post the other day by a cat who's on IG. Got a huge following, man. 446,000 followers or something like that, man. He is constantly talking that same talk. And I started to let him have it, but there's no need for me to. I let God do what he's going to do, and I do what he instructs me to do. Now, don't get me wrong. Listen, I have been straying away from the Most High's will for me here recently myself. When you hear me spewing some out at some of these cats that are spiritually not even anywhere near where they need to be, that are so far from being godly that they have to claim other things, other entities, other energies, other outlooks, other understandings. They're so far away from godliness that I shouldn't even be addressing these cats. So yes, I've strayed away myself. But that just goes to show you how hard it is to stay on the path of the Most High when you are engaged in the world. You don't see me on people. You don't see me around this platform anymore like that, man, because I'm not going. I have a mission for God. And the only way to stay on your mission for God is to separate yourself from the world. When I told y'all, man, the alpha journey is a lonely existence. It's not a lonely existence. Do you see the rest of the world? It's not like you're shut out from the world. You're just on a plane above the world doing something that the world is not paying attention to because the world is too busy being the damn world. A woman can be godly if she separates herself from the world unto the ways of God. She has to do that. I've met women before, man, who they cleaned up their diets, man, stopped eating all the defiled foods. They start honoring the Sabbath, man. They start doing all types of things. The very moment they weren't on my team anymore, man, within a month, they were eating pork. Within a month, they were grinding 7 days a week. Because that woman didn't separate herself unto the ways of God. See, when a woman separates herself from the world unto the ways of the Lord, it embodies her life. She doesn't do it for you. She doesn't do it for any accolades from you. She does it because she thirsts for a connection from God. You got to understand, a woman is born just like you're born. She's not born absent of the presence of God. But we are in a world where she is more likely to be pulled away from God at a young age because this world presents everything opposite of God to her as a positive thing. Her options are unlimited when it comes to doing things that are the opposite of godly. You and I, not so much. Hell, as young men, we go through things where we need God. We need to turn our lives around. We deal with so many obstacles coming up, man, that before long we realize, man, hey, man, I need to navigate through this with God. They don't have to do that because everyone around them, everything around them, the system they live in perpetuates a sense of power when in actuality it's causing them to be helpless. If all of the services and benefits that they get are pulled away from them right now, man, they lose their minds because they don't know how to fall back on God. And that in itself is an oxymoron. Fall back on God. How do you ever get up there if you think you didn't get up there with the Most High? If a woman does not embrace her role as a godly woman, and all that encompasses, it encompasses more than being the type of woman she is to you. It encompasses the type of mother she's going to be. It encompasses the type of friend, the type of relative, the type of everything she's going to be. You got women right now, man. A man is wealthy, and that woman is not even willing to not go out to work. When I tell you things like your woman shouldn't go out and work for someone else, she shouldn't. She shouldn't. That's sending your woman out into the world for 8 hours a day. You're gonna send your woman out into this evil world for 8 hours of a day, 8 to 10 hours of a day, and then you're gonna expect her to maintain her godliness? Come on, bro. Come on, man. She's a woman. And the world is ready to chew her up and spit her back out as a lesser version of the woman you sent out that morning. She can find God. She can separate herself to God, but at that point, you have to lead her in godliness. Or she's just going to fall back to the wayside and be right back out into the world again, man. It's up to you and I to understand that separating ourselves unto the Lord is the only way to be a righteous man. If you have not separated yourself from the world, you lying to yourself. If you're telling yourself you godly, brother, you lying to yourself. If you telling yourself you righteous, brother. You lying to yourself if you telling yourself you reach a high level of spiritual awareness, brother. You are lying to yourself. You're a lie. The truth ain't in you, man. There's only one way to be godly, brothers. And it is right here in this word. And to start that off, you need to take the vow of the Nazarite. This is the only way to separate yourself unto the ways of God. You can't just be living in the world and doing God part-time. Number 6. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine, or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes, or dried. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head, until the days be fulfilled in which he separated himself unto the Lord. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of his hair of his head grow all the days that he separated himself unto the Lord. He shall come at no dead body. He shall not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, for his brother, or for his sister, when they die, because the consecration of his God is upon his head. All the days of his separation, he is holy unto the Lord. I don't know how many men you know who've done this, but I have. I've taken this vow and stayed on it for 17 months. Followed it to a T. Followed it to a T. And I'll be honest with you, brothers. I have never been the same man since then. I've never been the same man since then. It changed my life, brothers. Turned me into a man who saw the world through the eyes of God. Now, have I had some fallbacks and slip-ups and setbacks and all that? Yes. Because coming out of the world permanently is a hard thing, brothers, especially when you're young. You know what I'm saying? When you're young. I did this when I was 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? Actually, right at the tail end of being 21. I turned 22 while I was on the vow of the Nazarite already. And being a young man that's used to running in certain circles, man, and doing certain things in the streets, man, and having access to certain women and certain and certain money and living a certain lifestyle, man, and it was a tough thing, brother. So yes, I had times, man, where I ended up back in there at least a couple of times, but I always knew I was back out there because I had developed that understanding of God with God. And that's the bottom line. Now, let me finish because I see people here talking crazy, which means that they haven't read this at all. And the Nazarite, this is 18. And the Nazarite shall shave the head of his separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and he shall take the hair of the head of his separation and put it in the fire, which is under the sacrifice of the peace offerings. Now, don't tell nobody, but I did this. You know, the peace offering and burning the hair and all that. Don't tell nobody because it ain't really legal to do that. Now, the statute of limitations run out on that, but it ain't really legal to do that. So at the end, you shave your head. Which is good. It's good that I made that point. It's good. I wanted to get to that point. And that fool made me go look at it, made me go look for it. Now, Primal just asked, can we get a lineup during the vows? I want you to listen to what I said again. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head. So unless you get a lineup with something that ain't got no razors on it, then you can get a lineup with some scissors, I guess. But there shall no razor come upon your head. See, that question, Prime, I want y'all to think about the question Prime just asked. That's a question from somebody trying to exist in the world still while they're on the vow to Nazarite. You can't do it. You got to be in a position to be able to separate yourself. That's why I preach entrepreneurship all the time. That's why I preach working for yourself all the time. That's why I preach that, because you can do the things you need to do as a man if you control your own time. If you are the boss of your own time, if you make your own schedule, then you can do whatever it is you need to do, and you don't have to make certain compromises, and you can stay out of certain environments. Now, if you got to get up every day and go to a job, you can't take the vow to Nazarite. You can't just let your beard and your hair grow like that, man, and take the vow to Nazarite. You can't do it. You simply cannot let your hair grow all wild like that, because they got a handbook that they gave you to talk about your appearance. So when I say being a godly man, there are certain steps you have to take in your life before you can even become a godly man. Like, you have to be the controller of your own destiny, which is an oxymoron, but we use it all the time. But you have to be the controller of your own destiny in order to even do this type of separation, because this separation can last forever. For me, it lasted until I read through the whole Bible. And I took my time. You know what I'm saying? I took my time. I read like a chapter a day, or maybe a couple of chapters a day or something like that, man. I didn't even go fast. So just going at that pace, it took me 17 months to finish the Bible, going at that pace. But at that pace, I was able to retain everything and hold on to everything and be able to, speak on these things from a position of knowledge of these things. So yeah, you can't really, I mean, it's a tough thing to do, and it's not meant for everybody. This is what we have to understand, brothers. Every man is not meant to be a godly man. Some men are just going to be worldly. You got to have a well made up mind, and your life has to be designed by the Most High for you to be able to do this. I think one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me, man, was getting a felony. It may not seem like that, in retrospect, but that's one of the best things that ever happened to me, man, because it forced me to be an entrepreneur. It absolutely forced me to be an entrepreneur. It forced me to work for myself if I want to make some money. I can go get a little two-bit job that don't mean that I can't even live off of. I can go spend 30 or 40 hours a week working somewhere, man, that I can't even sustain a life on. You know what I'm saying? But catching that felony young, man, it did wonders for me, brothers. I'm gonna be honest with you. It put me in a frame of mind early on where I realized, man, depending on this system, man, is incredibly naive. You know what I'm saying? I don't know no Francis, bro. So, I say this, man, and I ain't want to stay here too long with this one, but a woman can be godly if she separates herself from the world in the same way that a man does when he becomes godly. The point is, there is a separation from the world needed in order for you to focus on God, because the world is the opposite of godly, and you can't focus on both at the same time. And that's real talk. Tomorrow, man, we'll talk about why. We'll talk about the benefits of separating yourself from the world, the benefits of imprisoning yourself from the world. Because there's a phenomenal benefit that men who do a lot of time in prison get, a phenomenal benefit. Now, that benefit ain't where I ain't telling you that you're going to be like, well, I should go to prison. But I'm going to tell you how to actualize this thing into your life. You know what I'm saying? The one benefit of going to prison that all men should mimic in their real lives. And it's an incredible benefit, incredible benefit. And men who are in prison don't think about it until they get out and hear what people have to say about them when they get out of prison. Now, this if you were a man in prison. You know what I'm saying? It's different if you weren't a man in prison. But if you were a man in prison, then we'll get into the benefit and how that affects a man's life in a positive manner. Because it would seem that doesn't affect a man's life in a positive manner at all. I'm talking about a man who got 10, 15, 20 years. We'll see how it affects a man when it all boils down. And we'll talk about that and a couple of more things, man, moving forward. It's King Ray Ray, representing the Most High, representing my brothers, representing my people. Y'all enjoy the rest of your hump day. We're going to get ready to slide on out of here, man. Peace. King Ray Ray in this bitch. Ah.
Chuck Diesel.